Richard, so a couple of questions in our inbox, which means a few hundred are probably in yours.
There's always a few.
And that is PEX or copper? What do you prefer? Where are we going? What does the future hold?
Depends. No.
I can't respond to 100 people. It depends.
Look, there's a place for both of these. You know, the copper is a time-proven material. We've been using it forever. There's a lot to like about it. It's rigid and straight. You know, you run it very logically. You go this way, then you go this way, you go this way through the building with a series of fittings.
Yep.
It's time-proven. It's corrosion resistant. You know, there's no more lead in the solder connection, and it's safe. And people know how to do it throughout history.
Yes.
PEX is clearly what is coming along. Now, PEX has got flexibility. You can run it like wire. It's corrosion resistant, just like copper is. It doesn't get brittle over time because it's an engineered product. It's a cross-linked polyethylene. It's called not a simple plastic. Properly manufactured, it's going to last as long as copper and then some. It comes in coils, and so now it's a whole different set of skills than the conventional plumber, because now you're going to run much like an electrician. You're going to run tubing up through the building, going to go to that far bathroom and over to the kitchen over here, and now there's going to be hopefully fewer fittings inside the wall. Fittings is always the potential leak point. Copper's going to be more money in both cases, both for the pipe and for the fittings. You know, if I look at fittings like this versus like this, that the fittings for PEX are probably going to be at least half, and the speed to make those connections is going to be less. And there should be fewer connections if you run it like that electricians are going to run his wire.
Yeah, that's interesting. You like the fact that it's rigid, but that means that every time you want to turn copper 45, 90 degrees, you have to put another fitting on.
That's right.
Whereas the PEX, you can literally run it 100 yards.
Absolutely. And you can bend it and fish it up through.
So now I may be old school, but I actually know how to solder.
Not that well.
They only leak once in a while, and those were our secrets.
Yeah, and you burn that house down.
But I actually know how to do this, and I don't mind. Yeah. But when I see PEX, I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's for a professional.
Right. Well, it always was a pro when it first came out because there was always this proprietary expansion tool. And so this tool used to be, was $600 for a plumber. And now, the same tool is now available manually. So you see the sleeve, that's a PEX sleeve that goes on the outside. And now what we're going to do is expand that tubing and the sleeve.
And you've told us that this material has a memory.
It goes back and it stays on there just as tight as any clamp you could ever put on it. And it's solderless.
And so what is something like, I mean, this is always prohibitive. What's something like that cost?
This ironically costs the same amount of money as this torch kit, and you can reuse it and you'll never run out of gas.
But that means that if I'm willing to invest in this for copper, I should have no problem investing in that, and I can certainly do that.
Right. So PEX is going to be, clearly in most parts of the country, it's become the tubing and material of choice. There's always going to be a place for copper, particularly in the northern urbanized areas. And when you're doing remodeling, oftentimes it just makes as much sense to tie onto it. I like to use copper when I'm around a shower valve like this. You get a shower valve that you rough into the bathroom.
Nice and rigid.
You know, it's going to have some rigidity so you can secure it to the building. And then if I'm trying to trim out where, you know, this might be underneath the sink or the toilet, so you have PEX inside the wall, and then you'll be able to trim it out conventionally after you do your trim right there.
Okay.
And then this is an ice maker box. So that you'll see in that same plumbing aisle that now is almost all PEX, you're going to see more and more of these accessories that allow you to use PEX to interface with the building.
So big picture, you were thinking more of this, but we're still going to have a time and a place for copper.
Old habits die hard.
Good, excellent. I love that. Now that's an answer I can give back to people.
Depends.
That's already done. Oh, that's not going anywhere. Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.